Guillerme, welcome to the very first video blog. How are you today?
I'm really fine. And Ian, thanks for having me today. It's my great pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you on. Great to have you on, Guillerme. So let's get into it. First question is, you've been in Ireland quite a while now. You're from Brazil, and how did you end up in Ireland? And what city are you living in?
So currently we live in Waterford City in Ireland. We moved here 4 years ago, almost like roughly 4 years ago. Why you decide to move to Ireland? First thing, my wife will start talk about, hey, let's look for some better way to live, a better quality of living. Let's figure out as we can move, like officially we have a right to move to Europe. So we figure out which country we can move. First we thought about Portugal, but then we decided to move into Ireland, mainly because we can see like massive improvements in Ireland for the last 10 years. For example, if you see in the year 2020, Ireland has got the 21st best educational system in the world, the 21st best position, the most innovative IT country in the world, third best wage in Europe. So we figure out, yeah, let's go there. Let's see what can happen. And we need to figure out first which city we can move in first, because we are a family. I can't rent an apartment of 1-2 rooms. I need to rent a house. I need to rent a big space for kids playing. And we decided to move to Waterford because like the oldest city in Ireland is well known for foreigners. Here's a gorgeous city. We watch a lot of things on YouTube, on Joy Intercambio channel, on official City Hall channel. So we very like the city. Like city is gorgeous. By the way, Ireland's gorgeous. Like it's more gorgeous in the spring and summer, but the whole year across, like it's a gorgeous country to be. Fair place to live. So we are here. Like we love to be here. And well done, Ireland. Well done, Irish people. You are doing great.
How did you end up in Waterford?
I buy free and join Intercambio. So I start my connections with them. And I studied here for 6 months at WELC, Waterford English Language Center. And when I finished this course, I started talking with Cauê and Annie, the Joint Intercambio owners, and they decided, hey, you need a sales agent. You understand about English programs because you were one of our students. So, and I had background about sale, about management. So I started working for them. I think it was 2017, around I think May, something like that. I worked as a sales agent for 2-3 months. Then hired me as a manager to look after the company. Start doing like implement like process, CRM system, and other stuff here.
I'm glad you're enjoying Waterford. It's a very nice city, and they call it the sunny southeast. So you've gone to the sunniest city in Ireland.
Yeah, another talk that we did because we are used to live in Rio de Janeiro, like very tropical weather.
Okay, let me ask you the next question. So as a Brazilian national living in Ireland with your family, we have over the last few months, gone through and are in the middle of a health crisis. I mean, what has it been like for you living in Ireland and maybe the Brazilian population in general? And has the government helped in any way while you're here?
And I believe, yeah, that's it. I think I can say the Irish government is really giving a really great support to students, to local people. And it could be a really game changer in the future because students, they are going to say, hey, how that country defeated, combated that pandemic. So because trust is one of the biggest points to decide which country they are going to study. So how the government is dealing that pandemic. About other type of stuff, for example, visa restrictions. In Ireland, the government is postponing all visas that are due to expire. So they are facilitating a lot for Brazilians and international students. I think it could be a good marketing from now, the future about Ireland, how Ireland deal with this pandemic and is going to keep running for at least next months, because don't know if you can have the vaccine like the next months or next year. So I think could be a really good like propaganda marketing for the countries that are facing well this pandemic to be like more welcome by the students.
I think, as you said, there's three big things there. There's the students that have lost their jobs. I think the government is helping, and they're paying students that have lost their jobs social welfare, which I believe is about $350 a week, which is very good. It helps the students get by, and you can't be evicted, I believe, during this pandemic. So just say you couldn't pay for your rent, I think the students can be evicted by law, which is fantastic. I mean, it safeguards the students, which is a priority. The third thing is the visa restrictions. If the visa expired during the last few months, it's automatically renewed, which is fantastic. Fantastic for the students. Yeah, it's very good. So overall, I think the government's doing a good job, and it's great to know they're taking care of this this sector of the population, because they're very, very important to Ireland and the Irish economy. For Brazil itself, we see some economic difficulties, not just in Brazil but all around the world. But in many places, the currency is devaluing. We see a drop in the Brazilian real, and we also see some travel restrictions. What does this mean for Brazilian students, do you think?
There's a really those points that you point out are really critical for students to choose, mainly because they have incomes, revenues, things from that country. For example, I talk about Brazil, so they have their currency there, like real. If the real loses value against, for example, in front of versus euro or dollar, they could think about when my money now could worth more there, like United States and Canada, for example, UK, here, Malta. So one of the big points here about quality of living and power of purchase. Those points are really critical. And normally the agencies, they show options to the students, talk about, hey, if you want to go to that city, so if you have that your value, that your budget, so I think you can make your money value more if you go to a city that the rent price could be lower than capitals, for example. So it's a big point to decide. So I believe because there are things taking place in the world about, for example, GDPs in European countries, how the companies are releasing their new forecasts about profits. The same thing in Brazil. So I think a lot of things could change from today to tomorrow. So those forecasts are being updated every day by hour.
Yeah, that explains it well. I think you're mentioning that the students typically will book a course maybe a year down the road, and in order for them not to pay too much, they'll pay monthly installments. And when the real against the euro is high, then maybe the next month it'll be low, and over 12 months it just averages out. The top 6 countries where students tend to study in are, I believe, Canada, the US, UK, Ireland, Australia, and Malta. They're the top 6. And Ireland is number 4 on that list. So what are the benefits, do you think, of coming to Ireland? And do you think this health crisis is going to have a big impact on this?
Yeah, let's talk about the rank that you said. Yes, the rank shows why Ireland's so important in this educational international market. Yes, what could be and what is the most attracting, could say, features for Brazilians choose big account. One is about how is about to live there, about the educational system, or if they want to immigrate, how could it be to figure out how can they find a job and postpone their stay in the country. So it's one of the main points. Other points are, if they want to study there, can I work there? If you analyze the last 2-3 years the reports from Brazil. We have an organization there in Brazil. It's named Belta. They cover all this market in Brazil. They say that the programs, working study programs, are being like more claimed by the students because they can do for a living. They can really use their language. So because Ireland is one of the big player in this area. If you talk about working study programs, why? Because if the students they want to choose to go to Canada, United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand, for example, if they want to work there, they need to apply for visas that mainly need to be in the higher education sector. So they need to do a bachelor, master, doctorate, whatever. So in Ireland, they can book a course for 6 months and they can work 20 hours per week, and they can renew for at least within 2 years. Afterwards, they finish those 2 years, they can go to the higher education sector, do their course from the bachelor to a postdoc, for example, and have their renew postponed for more like 1 year, 1 year and a half, for looking for a sponsor, an employer to sponsor them to really live in here and get their visa to live like formally for the next years. Afterwards, get their Irish, for example, passport, nationality. So Ireland is one of the best ones. Why? Mainly because the wage here is the third is highest in Europe. So they can do for a living if they work 20 hours per month. So, for example, the minimum wage here is 1,800 per month. So they can do like 900 per month. If they live in cities, for example, not the biggest cities in Ireland, they can do for a living. They can save some money for doing their higher educational course after they finish those 2 years, for example.
Let's move on. The next question I'm going to ask you is just about the education industry in Ireland, and you know a lot about that. You've been working with a lot of schools in Ireland over the years. So where do you see things moving for the education industry in the short term? A lot of schools are moving online, and is this something that you see lasting into the future in terms of online learning? And are students from Brazil even interested in this type of learning environment?
I think so. Some students our prospects, they are start asking us, do you have online course to offer? How does it work? Can I do a kind of sandwich package? Can I do online course till I can't go to Ireland and improve my English? And when I move to Ireland, I have better English. I can keep going my course. Or which solutions do we have? They start asking us things that we didn't see like 3 months ago. They are now asking, can I do like online course? Do I have any solution on an app that I can download? So they start asking. So I think it's a good thing. Clients, they really are changing their behaviors. So they understand what's happening. And it does mean that they see with their dreams to learn English and go abroad. And they are really trying to occupy their agendas to learn English in a way that could be online or not.
What's the feedback you've got so far, if you've got any feedback, about the schools that are doing online learning at the moment? Have you had any feedback yet?
By students, they're not. I can say they're not complaining about what's taking place. I know that some schools they are really adopting online classes. I think it's fine. They are doing well. I know that the schools here they work hard, like to keep students being connected, being stick with their staff and teachers. I don't have any complaint by our clients. I think they're really doing well. They understand what's happening. They are really They need to change. They need to like figure out how we can keep studying. So I think they are really happy how the Irish English schools are doing here.
Excellent, excellent. And my final question, Guillerme, we see technology advancing quite quickly, with online learning, and that can even, if you look at payment systems and you look at the situation in Brazil in terms of the FinTech. I was just reading there recently that Brazil is #2 in the world for the adoption of FinTech. And you've got Turkey, #1, and you've got Brazil and Colombia, #2 and 3. Do you see that coming in the near future in terms of, the adoption of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in Brazil, and for payment methods for educational courses in the future?
Yeah, I believe what you said about cryptocurrency, what's taking place nowadays in the world, is a kind of no-stop event. For example, if you talk about Brazil and Turkey, and if you analyze even China, they start adopting cryptocurrency there, Bitcoins, for payments, mainly because the pandemic best practice, do not use cash, keep social distancing. Really, e-commerce companies are really making better nowadays than before, because people, they want to keep consuming, they want to keep buy stuff. So instead they go to some shop, they buy online nowadays. So as China is adopting that, and China announced it too, they are not keeping dollar as one of their currencies to maintain their trading. They are now separating dollar and the China's currency. So I believe China is a huge player in the world. They are they got their 1 billion to 200 million people living there. So I think yes, it's going to happen. They're going to change. In Brazil, as you said, is one of the biggest countries that adopt fintechs and bitcoins. They are even adopting there some payments to some, with some e-commerce and some well-known companies. They are accepting bitcoins. So some companies are already starting accepting that. So I believe, as people are migrating more to a virtual world, virtual applications, I believe it's a thing that stay here for you could say it's a non-stop scenario. Even more people adopt technologies. So I believe companies, they need to look after that. What can happen in my company if I not adopt Bitcoins as soon as possible? How trustful could it be to adopt Bitcoin nowadays? If they are, if you could say, vulnerable about the variations of this type of coin in the world. Because, for example, Bitcoin some weeks ago, I think the last month, they had one of the best values in stocks option. So they are back into the game about Bitcoin. So it shows that people are looking for more virtual solutions, online solutions. They are really not changing with this money. So about enjoy intercambio, yes, we can think about if you start to having prospects and clients say, hey, can I pay by bitcoins to purchase my course? We can think about how we can deal with these transactions. If you can even have, if you can say, advantage if you adopt that, yes, I think it could be quite possible. If you don't change, the change will change us, or we are going to lose our positions as players in the world. So I think we need to be aware about what's happening, really understand what could be the next steps. So as you asked, yes, it's going to be even more used by our people. Bitcoins, fintechs are here. Even I know that, I think in Ireland it happened too, but I think in Brazil, I really know that happened. The big banks in Brazil, when I talk about big banks, the whole world, huge banks, they did a call for fintechs, help them to spread the money in this pandemic, to spread their loans, spread their money, to support small business, to support people. So big banks, they already understood, yes, need to be partner, need to buy fintechs to keep as a big banks in the future. So this change is happening. So we need to be aware, need to understand what can affect our business too.
So Guillerme, thanks so much for joining us today on our very first video blog. It's been a pleasure having you, and thanks for answering all those questions for us.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to me. I'm really proud to be here, that you invited me to be the first one to start your new video vlogs, and I wish you the best, and thanks for inviting me.